Good morning, my dear children. Today we are going to study Chapter 4 Key Elements of a Democratic Government. Children, in the third chapter, we learned the meaning and types of government. Now, in the present chapter, that is Chapter 4 Key Elements of a Democratic Government, we'll try to understand that how the various elements influence the working of the democratic government. The chapter begins with the South Africans example, which was earlier governed by apartheid laws. Apartheid means separation on the basis of race. Actually, children, South Africa has a people of several races. There are people whose skin color is black and who belong to South Africa. There are white who came there to settle, and there are Indians in colored races who came as laborers and traders. According to the apartheid laws, these races were not allowed to mingle with each other. They were not allowed to live near each other or even to use common facilities. In South Africa, under apartheid government, trains, buses, bus stops, even though hospitals and ambulances were separate for whites and for blacks. And there was great difference in the standard and conditions of all such facilities. The facilities meant for white people would always be well maintained, while those for black people or non-white were not. Not only that, but the non-whites even did not have right to vote. They had to live on the worst of available land, as the best land was meant and reserved for the white people. In this way, in South Africa, the policy of separation was followed, and the blacks and colored people were not considered to be equal to whites. As I mentioned earlier that there were separate places to live for whites and non-whites. So children, one such place for blacks was the southwestern township, which was called Soweto in short. A boy named Hector Peterson lived in that township, that is Soweto. He, along with his classmates, had joined the protest against learning the Afrikaans language in school. Dear students, Afrikaans was the language spoken by the white, and Hector, along with other students, were forced to learn Afrikaans. But they wanted to learn Zulu, which was their own language. The protesters were beaten badly by the African police, and police even shot at the gathered protesters. Hector Peterson was killed in this firing on 16th June 1976. So, this protest against apartheid law continued, and a group of people near the African National Congress and lead the struggle against the apartheid system. The most prominent leader of the African National Congress was Nelson Mandela, who fought against the apartheid system for many years and had to be imprisoned for a long time for this cause. Ultimately, in 1994, South Africa became a democracy where people of all races were considered equal. I am sure that you all would agree that it is important for all persons to be treated equally. Why? Because of equality is one of the key elements of a democracy or a democratic government, along with some other important key elements, which are people's participation, resolution of conflict, and justice. Let's learn about the people's participation in a democratic government. How do the people participate in a democratic government? Children, in a democracy, people participate in decision making and they do this through the voting in elections. By casting their votes in elections, people elect their representative, and these representatives take decisions on behalf of the people. It is believed that these representatives would take care of people needs, desires, interest while making decisions. Through the elections, the government are formed and they are elected for a fixed period of time. Like in India, the government are formed for 5 years, and if they wish to govern further, they need to be re-elected by the people in the next election. Thus, through the regular election, people get the power to participate in the process of government. If the people are not satisfied with the functioning of the government, they have the power to change their decision in the next election by electing some other leader as their representatives. And therefore, regular elections also check and limit the part of the government. So, children, by casting their votes and electing their representative, people participate in a democratic government. But this happens once in 5 years. How can the people participate the other time? For that, there are other ways through which people can participate in the process of the government. And these ways are by taking an interest in the working of the government and by criticizing it when required for needed. So here is one example to make you understand. Children, in 2005, the charges of electricity were increased by a particular government. It meant that people had to pay more for electricity consumption. To show their disapproval to the government about this decision, people organize rallies and signature campaigns. All attempt of the government to explain and justify its decision were failed. And finally, the government had to withdraw or take back the increase. Government did this because the government is responsible and answerable to the people. By now, you must have understood that people have the part to make the government realize about their desires and aspiration and do express their views. They make the government understand what actions they had to take, and they do it through various ways such as dharnas, rallies, strikes and signature campaigns, etc. Sometimes there are decisions that go against the interest of the people. They also need to be brought forward. The government issues and responsibilities are also discussed through different forms such as television, newspaper, radio, magazines, etc. So, children, so far we have learned that people participate in the working of a democratic government. But you should always remember that all sections of the societies, such as minority communities, Dalits, Adivasis, women, and others, are actually not able to do so. The way for them to participate is by organizing themselves into social movements. These social movements try to seek challenge the government and its functioning. It is required that the people a country are alert and aware so that the democratic government of a country is strong. Therefore, a citizen is the responsibility of everyone to be aware of what is happening in our surroundings and what are the actions of the government for various issues. The other key elements of our democratic government is resolution of conflict and equality and justice. We learned about a story of Hector Peterson that he, along with his other friends, other students, he was protesting against the forceful teaching of Afrikaans language. This is the example of conflict, and many times such conflicts cause violence because one group finds it to use force against the other group to check the protest. Children, when people of different religion, culture, regions, or economic backgrounds do not cope up with one another, the condition of conflict arises. Conflicts also occur when a group of people feel that they are being discriminated, and to resolve their conflicts, people may use violence. The violence creates a fearful situation for the people. Here it is the duty of the government to intervene in the resolving the conflict. How can the government perform its responsibility of resolving conflicts between people or groups of people without being? So, children, there are some basic rules, laws laid down in our constitution for the government and for the people. These rules and laws are to be kept in mind while resolving any issue or differences. Now we have heard so much about conflicts in society, and you might be wondering what kind of conflicts occur among people. So, children, as you know that in our society there are people who follow different religions. Sometimes the religious practices can be cause of conflicts. For example, people of a particular religion wish to take a procession, but the route that they want to use for the religious procession can lead to be conflict. If the people of the other religion don't appreciate this practice, in such situation, the role of the government, especially the police, is very crucial in making the represented concerned communities to meet together so that they can arrive at a solution. Sometimes there are chances that one group or other or some people of another community may disrupt the procession by throwing stones or by some other means. This may lead to violence between the groups or communities. The police has the responsibility to make sure that such incidents do not occur and the conflicts are avoided. Conflicts can occur on the share of river water between states. Children, the course of a river may be such that it rises in one state, flows through another state, and ends in a third state. Thus, the sharing of the river water between those states through which the river flows can be an issue of conflict. For example, the dispute between the states of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu over the distribution of Kaveri river water. In Karnataka, the water of Kaveri is stored in Krishnarajas Sagar Dam. This water is used for irrigating many districts of Karnataka and for meeting the requirements of Bangalore city. In Tamil Nadu, the water of Kaveri river is stored in Mettur Dam and is used for the crops, which are grown in the delta region of Tamil Nadu. The reason of conflict between the states of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu is both the dams are built on the same river. Now, the dam in Tamil Nadu, which is a downstream dam, can only be filled when the water is released from the upstream dam in Karnataka. In this condition, both the states are not getting as much water as they require to fulfill the needs of their people. In these states of conflicts, it is the responsibility of the central government or the union government to intervene and ensure a fair and just distribution of water between both the states. This resolution of conflict is a major and important element of democracy. Now, another key element of democratic government is equality and justice. Equality and justice may be two different terms in dictionary, but in democratic government they are inseparable. That means they cannot be separated. Children, we all know that earlier in our country practice on untouchability, which was very common, and we know that now it is banned by law. Those who were considered untouchables could not get education. They were denied transport and medical facility. They were even of the chance to offer prayers and not allowed to enter the places of worship. Later, people like Dr. Ambedkar realized that such practices should be stopped and that justice can only be done and achieved when people are treated equally. Therefore, in a democratic country like India, government makes special provisions for those groups which in the society which face inequality. For example, it is a general tendency in our society that a boy child is given more value and care than the girl child. It is a clear example of inequality, where the girl child is less valued than the boy child, and therefore it is totally unjust. Therefore, it is the responsibility of a democratic government to work in the direction of promoting justice. This can be done by providing some special provisions to girls so that they can overcome the justice done to them. One such provision to promote justice and to establish equality may be the waiving or lowering fees for girls in government schools and colleges. So, children, people participation, resolution of conflict, and equality and justice are the key elements of the democratic government. Okay? Thank you.